Hello Bookworms of Concord. In this video I will be reviewing Call of Madness by Julie Dean Smith. This is one of the books I found on that mini book haul I did here in Finland. If you didn't see that video, feel free, if you want, to go to my profile and watch that short video. But this is an obscure book. Whenever I go to a little bookstore, I always try to find some obscure fantasy, sci-fi, or horror book, and this book is definitely obscure as it only has 106 ratings on Goodreads, now 107 with my review. And this is apparently the first book of a 4-part series called the Caithan Crusades, and I would classify it as grimdark fantasy. And I don't want to spoil too much about what the world is like, but it takes place in the kingdom of Caith, Caithe, and where a person born with magic is viewed by the Catholic Church as one of the devil's children, scorned by God. And the powers of magic don't begin to manifest itself in these people, called the Lorngeld, until 20 or so years later after their birth. And if they don't learn how to control and comprehend this magic, they will inevitably be led to madness and lose control over their magic, causing a lot of unintentional harm to others. And the church has developed a way to deal with this eventuality, but I won't spoil what that is. So, are the church's concerns well-founded, or are the Lorngeld simply victims of the church's prejudice? You can probably guess as to which one it is. The protagonist is a woman named Athaya, who is princess of Caith, and the early signs of these magical powers begin manifesting in her as she struggles to come to terms with these powers that she's born with, and putting aside her own prejudices against the Lorngeld herself. And as Princess of Caith, you can imagine the political implications this has. Besides the political intrigue, there's also conspiracy involved and some romance, which I know a lot of you will enjoy. It's not my thing, but fortunately it's not really overplayed. But what I found most interesting is, obviously, as a pastor in a Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, the church angle in the novel. I found really interesting. The church's theological justification for their views against the Lorngeld, while prejudiced, are nonetheless interesting. On the one hand, I am tired of the old trope that the church is the main antagonist, but I do commend Smith for having the motivations of the protagonist to reform the church, rather than destroying it as combative atheists. Basically, the Church of Caith needs their own Martin Luther, which, as a Lutheran pastor, I of course love, but we'll see if these motivations of reformation remain the same throughout the series. I hope it does. So on Goodreads, this book has an average rating of 3.37 stars out of 5, or now it's 3.73 with my 5-star review, which isn't entirely bad, but I find it a little surprising because I actually like the book a lot. The plot does move quite fast, so some people might find the plot a bit contrived, but I think that's to be expected of a book that's only 311 pages. And even though it is quite fast-paced, I still thoroughly enjoyed the pace of the plot and the character development. I do like the protagonist, Athaya, but at times I found myself annoyed by her because she can be quite childish and impulsive at times, and she's incredibly naive. But I just can't fault this against the author, because Athaya is a spoiled princess, even though she doesn't like the life she was born into, and her impulsivity, naivete, and penchant to mess everything up is, I think, just part of her character. And a completely likable protagonist wouldn't make them a realistic person, in my opinion. So I'm interested to see how she develops as a character and possibly improves on these flaws throughout the series. Besides that, there are two main themes throughout the book. The first is the obvious one, the church's view on the use of magic. So as a pastor, there isn't really much to say about this compared to the real life church's view against magic. In the real world, the real magic that's condemned are things like divination, mediums, psychics, and so forth, not things like conjuring fire or telekinesis, because those things are completely imaginary, not real, which is why we can read books like this and Harry Potter, because that's not like biblical magic. That's not the magic the Bible speaks against. It's just divination and things like that. But if such magic like, casting a fireball did exist, I would be of the opinion that it's a gift of God, but that's just me. The second theme is duty, which is something Athaya struggles with deeply. She's faced with having to choose between the man she loves versus her duty as Princess of Caithan, as well as her duty as one of the Lorngeld. Her duties are ones she's had no choice over, and she struggles with the duties that are expected of her and what she really wants to do with her life. And this speaks to the vocations God has given each of us. There are a few times we do get to choose our own vocations, such as our job, sometimes. But even then, these are duties given to us by God to care for our neighbor. And at other times, it seems like we don't get to decide the vocations God has given us. Sometimes he just thrusts us into them. But it's always for his good and gracious will. So, like Athaya, we are left with the decision of accepting the honor of fulfilling our God-given duties or abrogating them. And these are really, surprisingly profound themes for such a short book. And I was just amazed by the profound depth of them. And for such an incredibly short book, it's kind of amazing how profound those themes are, even if they might be a little bit contrived for some people's views, not mine. So I really enjoyed the book. The magic system is rather unique. The persecution of the Lorngeld reminds me of the Dragon Age video game franchise, where the mages are similarly persecuted by the Chantry, which is the church of that universe. And there are classic antagonists in the book, and there are some unexpected twists that I honestly didn't really see coming. And so I'm definitely going to get the rest of the series, the remaining 3 books. From the research I've done, it looks like the 4 books of this series are the only ones Smith has published. She was born in Lafayette, Indiana, and she currently resides in Southeast Michigan, which is where I'm from. But so far, the first book is extremely underrated in my opinion, and I'm eager to see how Smith continues and finishes the series. So yeah, I give this 5 stars. I did not expect to enjoy it so much, especially with how short it is, considering the world building, the plot development, and the character building, but I really liked it. So if you so desire, if you can find a copy of this book, probably through thrift books or something, because this was published in 1990. It's not in print, or it's not being printed anymore. I'm assuming it's not, because this is her only series, and it's just so obscure, with only now 107 ratings to Goodreads. So yeah, there you go. Okay.